Yo, what's up everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Great League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very strong team that I had a massively successful run with today. I went 17-4 with this team, won 17 out of 21 battles. The team is Malamar, Dunsparce, and Daddy Diggersby. This team absolutely cooked. I've spent the whole week so far testing out different Pokemon and trying to use Pokemon that are just, newly buffed, interesting, might have some interesting coverage and stuff like that. Today, I decided that I wanted to focus more on meta Pokemon. I think we're now getting to the point that everybody's pretty aware of what happened in the move update, so I think it's time to start looking at some teams that you can possibly use to climb. This team has some issues with it. It's sort of ABA weak to Azu, because of course Diggersby is weak to the bubbles and ice beams, and Malamar gets walled by Azu. Azu lead would be pretty tricky for this team. I would probably just try to go into your Dunsparce and try to do your best with it. I would say the main core breakers to this team are definitely things like Azumarill, Whimsicott, and those types of fairies which have the sort of coverage against the Diggersby as well. Apart from that though, this team has a lot of play into the meta, and I was very tempted to run Hyper Beam in the Diggersby. We did settle for Fire Punch here, and it did work out pretty well on a few occasions. Sometimes you need the bait move, sometimes against things like Sand Slash, you need two moves no matter what, so having that cheaper move is definitely a little bit more beneficial. As you can see in this matchup right here, we're basically able to outpace the two Fire Punches. One Scorching Sands will knock it out. So definitely having Fire Punch in this case is very useful. Anyway guys, we're going to hop into the battles. Do me a quick favour, drop a like in the video if you enjoy it, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what teams are working well for you this season, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best ever Great League meta, 1 being the worst, what would you make of this season so far? In the next battle here we have a Frostless lead. We're going to basically build up. The opponent goes for a catch on a potential superpower. I end up throwing the superpower into the, which by the way I've seen this Pokemon twice today, into the Turtonator. Quite an interesting pick for this cup. I'm not too sure why people are running this, but I did see it twice today, quite interestingly. What I possibly should have done here is came into Diggersby right away, because I probably can just about knock them out with one move plus quick attacks. Although Turtonator is quite bulky, it can survive, and we come out of that with a Fire Punch, which is quite useful. Fire Punch also is quite good for Jump Bluff. I think Jump Bluff is kind of at the minute slept on or not being widely used. I'm not seeing a ton of them. They definitely are in the meta, but I feel like I'm not really seeing it as much as I expected to see it. Anyway guys, they come in here, I go for the Foul Play and the Golbat. We can basically just stay in this matchup. We have the Dunsparce on the Frostlass. That's exactly where we want to see it. I was kind of expecting to live this move. Poison Fang, I guess it's like a Trog. We roll out the whole way down without getting a debuff, and basically all we need to do is build up to 2 moves. That's good games well played. I don't think you'll see too many teams like that in the sort of sweatier parts of the season, and in the next match, we do have the Donkey Dinosaur. The opponent comes into the Bastiodon. We build up to back-to-back superpowers. We have 2 Pokemon in the back that can do very well against this thing. I basically wanted to get a shield off the opponent and look to basically swap into one of my hard answers. The opponent lets them move through, perfectly fine with that. No matter which Pokemon I'm using, I need to throw 2 moves no matter what. Now in this matchup here, if you're facing off against a Grass Poison type, you always go for Drill Run. Of course Ground is super effective against Poison, and Grass resists Ground, so it is a neutral move. Drill Run is the more energy efficient and higher damage move on Dunsparce, so where possible, you always go for Drill Run. The opponent goes for an Acid Spray here, which is kind of surprising. I thought they would Full Send the Leaf Blade. I could have probably let that move go. And yeah, you guys might have been thinking it was Wiggly in the back. No, it's Hypno, guys. It is Hypno in the back. The opponent here potentially could have Ice Punch. I'm thinking this could be the hardest hitting move, but they go for the Fire Punch. The opponent here ends up getting a free shield out of this matchup. Perfectly fine, I think we're still in a good position here. We go for the Scorching Sands. The opponent builds up, I think, to 5 or 6 confusions here. I get off this next Fire Punch, expecting it to knock out. The opponent ends up shielding the move. I just decided at this point, okay, we're going to go for this Fire Punch right here. This should be enough. Hypno's kind of thick, bro. They take that move, and I'm like, okay, unless it's a Focus Blast, we should be able to take it. However, the opponent goes for Thunder Punch on the ground type. Double resisted move here. Bring back in the Donkey Dinosaur, and they concede the match. Good games well played there. Gastrodon in the next match. What I typically like doing against Gastrodon is building up to 6 of their Mud Slaps, which is enough for their Earth Power. Earth Power is 6-5, Body Slam is free 2. If they throw an Earth Power, the following Body Slam will be 2. The opponent lets the move go and we come into Diggersby, and then they throw the Body Slam here. I was expecting the opponent to full send the Earth Power on me there. They come into Dugong, of course, pretty hard answer. Really happy the opponent wasted their energy on the Diggersby, because of course Dugong has a pretty positive matchup here. The great thing about Diggersby in this meta is, it just does really fine into everything. You don't have Annihilapes, you don't have Poliwraths, you don't have all of these types of things just here, not walling it, but just doing so much damage into it. And because the opponent misaligned the claw quite a lot, I realised I can actually preserve my Diggersby here, swap into Dunsparce. We somewhat have 2 answers to the Dugong, and if we can get ahead on energy here, we can actually do pretty fine. The opponent ends up catching the move on Sand Slash, probably not recommended, and I just realised, like, once again, The clock is super misaligned. I can throw a move right here, try to swap out of this matchup, potentially get back into Diggersby, commit to a Fire Punch. The opponent throws a move, because of course I probably was going to make a Fire Punch. That's perfectly fine. We let this move go. Now what I need to do in this situation is wait down my switch clock. Managing the switch clock in this current meta is very, very important. The opponent comes back into Dugong. I expected them to come back into their lead again, but of course the Gastrodon is quite low, so it is kind of tricky for them to come in here. They do get off a move. I'm fairly satisfied with this. We do actually tank a Body Slam. The opponent had to full send the Earth Power to knock me out. This is great. We go for this move. We swap into the Malamar, and I was trying to get to back-to-back moves, but with this Psywave damage, even though it's resisted, these are the equivalent of Shadow Claws. It's a one-turn Shadow Claw, so we just absolutely melted. In the next battle here we have Greedent. By the way guys, I hope you noticed that I'm making a conscious effort to speak a little bit more slowly in today's video. I do get comments sometimes asking, do you speed up your voice in your videos? I don't, I just speak really quickly. It's just kind of my nature to do that. It's kind of funny, I try to speak slowly in the videos, and whenever I speak slowly, it sounds like I'm depressed or something, like I'm ready to jump off my balcony playing this game, which I mean, sometimes that is the case, but, you know, in all seriousness, whenever I do try to speak slowly, it doesn't really come off that well. It doesn't sound too... It sounds like I've got no energy or something, so that's kind of why I speak the way I speak. Just thought I'd let you know that, because people do ask me, are you speeding up your voice? That's not the case. And also, I speak very fast because in these videos, I try to cram in as much information as I possibly can. It might be a little bit hard to take in at times, but the goal of these videos, of course, is to be entertaining, and also just to give you guys as much information as possible. The opponent comes into G-Weezy, they go for the Brutal Swing on 4. I think it's pretty impressive that the G-Weezings can spam these out in 4. Brutal Swing obviously doesn't hit too hard. The opponent has to full send an Overheat to knock me out. I was expecting this to only be a Brutal Swing. The opponent's smart. We're starting to face off against some smarter opponents here, full sending the correct moves. The opponent is full sended. We go for just an aggressive farm of the Malamar. They come up with the Azu. I do end up going for a foul play here. I'm going to swap out most likely, so I probably... Oh, I guess I just go for the foul play and farm down. I guess that makes sense. They come back into the Weezing. I'm just trying to chip this down as much as possible. Trying to basically put all of the hope into Psywave. We end up Psywaving them down before they can Fairy Wind us down, which is amazing. They come into the Greedent. I could have just farmed it down, but I went for the Superpower. I believe I have a move in Diggersby as well, and that's good games. Now, Core Breaker time. We have a Whimsicott in the lead. We come into Diggersby here, which is not exactly an answer, and then they come into Driftbloom, which pretty much hardwalls my moves, except for Fire Punch. So I guess this is another reason for Fire Punch. If you do happen to run into Driftbloom, you're going to see here that you can put in respectable damage into it. We do a 4 and throw on the next Fire Punch. Basically, free Fire Punches gets it very close to, well, not quite, because of course they're debuffing you, but it does get it respectfully low. What I decide to do here is end up swapping out of this matchup. I want to bank a Fire Punch, come into this. I'm core broken by the Whimsicott, right? So like I kind of have to try and do something. We go for a Superpower. Surprisingly, the opponent shields that first move. Was not expecting that. We do get off a second Superpower, and I suppose you can see here, this is kind of why they shielded it. That done respectable damage. Superpowers plus the Psywaves are really adding up in this matchup. So now it's like, okay, we wait our switch. The opponent insta-froze here, which I'm assuming is a Grass Knot. I have a Diggersby with a move banked. I'm assuming the opponent wanted to CMP that move. I do free rollouts and for a Rock Slide for good timing here, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. I'm fully expecting a shield, but they do end up letting it go. So I feel like I've got some sort of a chance now. They come into Decadui. The opponent, by the way, it's Decidueye, but they come into Decadui. This is going to be a Spirit Shackle trying to, of course, debuff me, but the Astonishes are double resisted. I've got a Fire Punch banked. The only thing I have to do to win this match is not get caught on. As you can see here, I'm over-farming in the rollouts, I'm not being an insta-throwing Andy, I'm keeping track of their energy, I'm just trying my absolute best not to get caught on. By the time the opponent catches here, I've got so much energy that I can just throw this off right here, go for the back-to-back moves on the Decidueye, and if they shield this move, of course, I'll go for the Wombo combo with the Fire Punch. So it ended up actually working out really well, banking that Fire Punch, and just coming in to snipe it at the end, worked out super well for me. I do really like that about this meta. There are a lot of opportunities to bank moves and get out, and in the next battle we have, speaking of which, we have an Ariados. I bank a Superpower, catch on the Dunsparce. You might be thinking, you know, is that great though, because they're debuffing you? Well, if I swap into Dunsparce, they're probably going to debuff me anyway, so I might as well catch it, get the energy on the Malamar, and that puts the Malamar in a position where we're doing super effective Psywaves in the Ariados. we can look to threaten 2 moves before they threaten their first lunge. And yeah, that looks to be a better position for sure. Now, once again, I'm trying to bank the energy. I come in, I go for the snipe for the superpower, knowing that this is pretty dead into the Ariados, knowing that my rollout user plus my Diggersby are very good into the opponent's Ariados. I decide here we're basically sacrificing the Malamar. I'm thinking Ariados might be one of their hardest answers to ground, because of course it has Trailblaze. We come in here, we're only 1 off the move here. I do 2 and fro, I believe here, because that kind of pace the opponent to the next move. Yep, they let it go, we're debuffed, we swap out, and it's Azu in the back. This is a very bad match for me, and the opponent here has a catch available, so I have to be very careful here. I need to throw in good timing. If you throw in good timing with a 2-turn move versus a 3-turn move, unless the opponent pauses, which really good opponents will pause, unless they pause to let you do the extra fast move, so that looks like good timing for you, and if you're not paying enough attention to their fast move, you know, that's when they can catch. The opponent does go for the catch as soon as I reach the move. I end up catching their drill run. The opponent was going for a snipe. So I believe the Azu is on something like 7 bubbles here, so I need to just overfarm as much as possible. The opponent has an Ice Beam banked. I cannot afford to shield any moves off the Dunsparce. What I decided in the moment is I'll go for a Fire Punch and a farm down, meaning that I can basically outpace. The opponent has, like I said, at least 7 or 8 bubbles, so they're basically, let's say, 2 or 3 off back-to-back moves. They go for the Ice Beam here. I go for 1 and 4 on the Scorching Sands. And yeah, this is basically GG's here. As you seen, the opponent was counting my fast moves, right? So they knew that I had back-to-back, and they do let that move go. Ariados lead once again. This is kind of a funny lead because, oh, and they go for the Simul Swap this time. It's a funny lead because we do super effective fast move pressure. They can look to one-shot us with their charge attack, but it's really interesting that they would try to catch a move on Hippowdon of all things. We Simul Swap here. I believe that the opponent will have to throw double Scorching Sands to knock me out, and if they want to maintain alignment, they're going to have to shield here basically. The opponent does not shield, and I don't think this is enough for the Scorching Sands, so I let it go. We definitely can get off a few rollouts on the Ariados if it comes back, and we have a pretty decent wall to it in Diggersby. The Trailblazers add up, you know, shield the first one though, shield the consecutive ones, and that basically puts you in a good position to win. The opponent comes into Feraligatr, which on PvPoke says that is a winning matchup for Diggersby. The thing is, you can take a Hydro Cannon no problem here, and you can make it to free Scorching Sands, so that's kind of why you do win this matchup. The opponent takes it, they're non-shadow, they end up getting the debuff here, and we're in a pretty decent position. They're debuffed, we can take this move, even if it's not debuffed, we can take it, and I'm just going to commit to a massive Psywave down. Psywave is just incredible, bro. The opponent has not got a move, we do 1 Psywave and throw. Whenever the opponent's got a 2-turn move, and you've got a 1-turn move, you always try to throw 1 and throw. You don't throw right away, because it means that basically, like, I actually make it to another move, right? Had I not been 1 and throwing, I would not have made it to this move. I decided at this point, like, you know what, we'll take care of this matchup with the Malamar. I don't even need Diggersby. Good games well played. I have lost to an Ariados lead. I'm going to be showing all of the 17 wins in today's video. I did lose to 1 or 2 of those Ariados leads. They can be very awkward, because like I said, they can just outpace you and get to the moves. Now we're seeing a second Turtonator. I decided to bring in the Dunsparce this time. You would think, you know, the last time that I played this match out, that I would want to bring in the Dunsparce. There was a reason for that. I think it was because of the lead Pokemon that I didn't want to swap it in. So sometimes you go into Diggersby, sometimes you go into Dunsparce. You don't always go into the same Pokemon all the time. Depending on what the lead Pokemon is, that should determine which of those 2 Pokemon you go into, right? Because, for example, if there's something in the lead that Dunsparce is your best answer to, you might not want to put your Dunsparce into a sort of neutral matchup and basically lose all of the HP on it. The opponent comes into a Charjabug. I believe the opponent does play this out quite a lot here. This match is absolute curtains. I think it might have been Great League Remix last season, where this matchup was really, really common. I was spamming Diggersby like crazy in that cup. That's actually the cup where I ended up facing Axon twice. I ended up getting his Charjabug stuck on my Pidgeotto thing twice, which was kind of unfortunate. You guys might have recalled the video where I hyper-beamed his Mantine, which was pretty funny. But yeah, this is just horrible for them. Of course, predicting the swap, I come into the Malamar. The opponent's going to go for Grass Knot here, because like, why would they not at this point? But yeah, this is basically GG's. I do like it whenever opponents concede these types of matches, because I'm up 2 shields, I've got a Diggersby, I've got a Malamar. It's like pretty RPS. I decided to let this move go, not because I'm trying to flex on the opponent, but I actually wanted to see if that would one-shot. So interesting information right there. That actually does one-shot pretty much. Just a really quick edit in the video. I now realize it's a Dark and Psychic type, which is double super effective, so that definitely will one-shot. We get a 5-0 in that set. You absolutely love to see it. This team definitely cooks. There are some issues with it for sure. You know, fairies can be awkward, right? Thankfully, this fairy does not have a great answer to the Dunsparce, so you love to see that. Definitely very happy there's no hard answer to Dunsparce on the team. What I have found is, Dunsparce is very, very safe on the swap. Yes, you can get sort of some more awkward matchups, A lot of times, people's best answer to it would be something like a Clodsire. A lot of people don't run like Machamp in the back of teams. Typically, you see it in the lead or nowhere. You don't really get Machamp backlines, which I guess is something that I might start thinking about quite soon. Because if you think about it, you see a lot of normal types in the back. You see a lot of Feraligators in the back. You do see a lot of poisons. That's kind of the problem. There's a lot of Azus and poisons in the back as well. But against like the Mud Slappers and things like that, Machamp does very, very well there. I decided to catch this move because I believe they cannot Shadow Claw me down. They come into a Typhlosion. We're just going to False End here. There's no point messing around. I guess a Foul Play probably is sufficient at this range anyway. The opponent lets it through, trying to put the hope and faith into the Feraligator. I think the opponent actually ends up taking this move, knowing that they can survive it and they have to survive it. And I'm like, you know what? Anything you can do, Daddy Diggersby can do better. We take the Hydro Cannon, quick attack it the whole way down, and that's good games. In the next battle, we get a Gastrodon lead. With Gastrodon leads, I always expect there to be a Flyer. Whenever I see Mudboy, I expect Flyer. But the one thing I've noticed in this meta so far is that Mudboy plus Flyer is not super common. I think that will be a very common core. I'm really surprised I've not seen a lot of Mud Slapper plus Mandibuzz. I'm just super surprised that's not been the case so far, because they cover each other's weaknesses super well. Or likewise, if you were using Jumpluff in the back of this, they cover the weaknesses super well. It might be a team that I try to showcase. A few seasons ago, Swampert Noctowl Pidgeot was one of my favourite teams. I think even potentially running this with like... Actually, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to try to showcase it in a video. Anyway, hopping into this, we can just basically superpower it and dip or do whatever. We end up farming this the whole way down. We just sacrifice the Dunsparce, and the opponent comes into a Dragonair. Really interesting here. I was certainly expecting the opponent to shield this move. They let it through. Dragonairs typically do like to shield most moves, and they do go for an Aqua Tail. I decide here this could be one of the hardest hitting moves left in the entire game. Super effective Aqua Tail hits like a truck. The opponent goes for a catch on Drapion. That's kind of insane. They do fail to get the catch. Probably expecting me to go for Fire Punch. And yeah, we're pretty chilling here. It's straightforward Aqua Tail, so we should be basically fine here. Scorching Sands should pretty much one-shot this thing. Of course, super effective damage. Drapion is super glassy. However, the opponent lives on 1 HP. They get off the dying move. You absolutely hate to see it. They do get off the Aqua Tail, take me out, but I have a ton of energy on Malamar. We get off the second superpower, and that's going to be good games. One thing I really did like about Malamar in general is just superpower dip. It's such a broken strategy. The pacing is pretty fast, and yeah, just doing that works super well. Now Talonflame, if you were throwing in perfect timing here, you do win this. I think I throw one before perfect timing, which is less than ideal. However, the opponent does something surprising. They let the move go. I basically come in to sack the Dunsparce. They have a Talonflame lead, right? They have answers to Rock in the back, surely. They come into a Mudboy, so like, yeah, this is an answer to Rock for sure, but it's not like super hard into Dunsparce. Dunsparce is amazing with its typing and its moveset. We actually make it to a second move. We might as well talk about its bulk as well at this point. Amazing bulk, amazing moveset, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. In theory, Talonflame is a very good answer to Diggersby, right? And sometimes you do see this paired with grass, so I feel like at the very worst we can Fire Punch it. If it's like a grass poison type, like a Venusaur or something like that, Psywaves are going to absolutely rip through it. I feel like Malamar plus Diggersby have a lot of good play here. We come in, go for the massive farm down here. Now once again, a smaller switch clock, all we need to do is worry about the catch. The opponent does go for it here. I'm very patient. I'm a patient Peter, some might say. I go for the Foul Play here, knowing that I'll reach 2 moves. Foul Play number 1 coming through. We go straight for the Superpower. I think this might have been a slight mistake, because I think I might have made it to another Superpower. I just didn't want to feed the opponent extra energy. We come in with Diggersby, CMP the Fire Punch. All we need to do is land a Fire Punch in this matchup. I believe the opponent made it to, I think, 9 Shadow Claws before Diggersby came in, so I'm going to just about outpace it. I can shield both of these Hydro Cannons, and I'll end up CMPing this move. The opponent's one off back-to-back, so even if the game bugged out and didn't CMP me there, I probably can just quick attack it down. So good games well played there. These are the little things that PvPoke doesn't tell you. These little niche situations where you need a faster pacing move. That is why putting your whole hope and faith into Sims is not the best way to go. I build up here, I'm going to take the first move, no problem. The opponent cannot afford to take my first move, so I'm pretty happy with this. We build up to back-to-back superpowers. I am anticipating a catch here, but I'm a little bit impatient. I go for this move immediately. They come into Moltres, I'm fine with that. I'm really fine with that. For a second here I thought, could this be Moltres and Mandibuzz? They come into Moltres here. I think they only build up to 7, they only go for the Ancient Power. Big shout out to my chat, it's 7 for Ancient Power, 8 to the Brave Bird, so we didn't have to worry about that. We free and throw for good timing. No need to overfarm, take any unnecessary moves. We're one off the move here. The opponent will basically have to throw immediately, and I'm very fine to shield this move. Because they went for the 1 and throw, and they actually go for the drill run, they're completely dry, so I can free and throw if I want to. but I recognise I can one and fro, and then one and fro the next move. So if they shield, I do a little pause here by the way to make sure I see the second powder snow coming through, and this drill run will be looking to knock out the Sand Slash. The opponent comes into a Gator. I make a stupid mistake here. I come into the Malamar going for a catch. That was really stupid. At the very least, I need to catch on Diggersby, because if I catch on Diggersby and get a quick attack through, I'll be able to just basically shield and outpace the opponent. I've got more or less a drill run banked and one off the drill run. So yeah, I'm almost lost this game because I'm creating win cons for the opponent. And you're going to see, like, this match gets really close. I'm forced to let this go. The opponent's got back-to-back moves right now. The opponent's on 6 Shadow Claws here, so I know I can one and fro for good timing. Every time I do a rollout, that's 2, 1, 2. The opponent's on 3. Basically, the opponent is 2 off the move here. They don't die to that move, but the last rollout knocks them out. The opponent actually dies with the Hydro Cannon. I was creating lose cons there, like, that's honestly insane. In the next battle here, very interesting lead, a very good lead for Malamar. Of course, they can no Trail Blaze, Thunderbolt, but like, I'm not too worried about it. They're not really going to confusion me down. They can go for their hard-hitting move, that's perfectly fine. And the opponent comes into a Wigglytuff here. Thankfully, I do swap out before the second charm registers, and we come into Diggersby. I've run good timing here on the Scorching Sands. 2 moves will knock this out. I'm definitely happy to shield a move off the Wigglytuff. Because look, we've seen Confusion in the lead, we're seeing Charm in the back. Could this be like Confusion double Charm, or some absolute nonsense like that? That's what I'm thinking at this point, so I'm like, I'll just shield the Diggersby. The opponent lets that through, which is great, and we can still look to get a move off on the Giraffe. I get this move off, despite being debuffed with Icy Wind, this will do a lot of damage. I come into the Malamar here, trying to draw out a potential Charmer. We do throw in between the Confusion, so we guarantee to get the shield or the knockout, and the opponent ends up swapping into a Steelix. Love to see it, we have Superpower. This is a very interesting kind of toxic team by the opponent. Superpower number 1, Superpower number 2, and I think after this goes through, and the opponent sees that I've got a full health Dunsparce in the back, they basically concede the match immediately. We even almost make it to another move there. The opponent throws, I think, a Psychic Fangs. I think after that gets no shielded, the opponent recognises, yeah, like Dunsparce with a shield, far too bulky. Giraffe can't really hang in with it too much, and that's GG's. We end up going 5-0 in this final set. You can see here we've got a Feraligatr lead. This is an interesting matchup. You can take a move and you can make it to 2 superpowers. I've got 0, 15, 15 IVs by the way. Yep, that comes through. We can make it to 2 moves. The opponent comes into Clodsire. I come into Diggersby. I'm really happy with this. The opponent's basically RPSing themselves. I assume that they have 2 answers to Electric in the back, so I'm thinking it could be double ground. If I can get enough energy with Diggersby here, we're in a very good position, because Diggersby can just do a lot of work into any of these teams. It shouldn't be Mandibles because they have something weak to Electric in the lead, so it should be some sort of an ABB, unless they plan on staying in with Feraligatr against any bad lead and trying to sweep with Mandy. The opponent lets that move through, they come into a Venusaur, which again, I guess that makes sense, right? It's a good answer to Grass, good answer to Electric, so we come into the Dunsparce at this point. Now, I decide in this moment here, Non-Shadow Venusaur's Frenzy probably does less than the not super effective, but the Shadow Hydro Cannon. And what quite surprised me here was the opponent actually lets us move through, letting me take out the Venusaur, putting all of the hope and faith into the Feraligatr. I feel like the Feraligatr just has a little bit too much to do here. I guess the opponent didn't have a lot of good options in this match either way. I shield this move. Basically all I need to do is get shields off the opponent. I've got energy banked on the Malamar. Also, Diggersby is not in Shadow Claw down range, so we just have them completely snookered here at this point. This is checkmate. The opponent recognises that, and this good game's well played. In the next game we have a Malamar Mirror. I decide in this match I'm going to go for the extras. They go for the Superpower and Dip strat. You guys are going to get very used to this next week in the Psychic Cup or the following week. We're going to go for a Superpower and Dip of our own on the Dugong, trying to get a shield advantage for my Malamar. I'm thinking this is Malamar plus 2 things weak to counter. Very similar team composition to mine. I assumed at this point it might be double Ice, because this is a pretty good draw out for like the best answer to Ice in the team, right? Dugong can debuff the Machamps. Dugong is ridiculous bro against Machamp. Karate Chop does not hit that hard against Dugong, so like if you shield the first move, you can definitely get shield advantage with Dugong versus Machamp, which is pretty crazy. The opponent goes for a catch. I tried to throw just before they reach the move. They go for the catch. However, my Malamar is up energy in this matchup, so I'm pretty fine here. I get this move off before they reach another move, and I want to see what the opponent wants to do about it. They take the foul play. I think at this point, it's so tempting to shield, because I can go for a superpower. Dugong is not at a move. I go for an overfarm here, go for a superpower. I'm thinking like a superpower could be really good against something in the back, so I kind of want to preserve this. The opponent will be forced to throw immediately, so I decide at this point, I'm pretty satisfied here I suppose. I'll let this through. I can roll out down, quick attack down, we go for the roll out down, in comes Clodsire, and that is absolute curtains for the opponent. Drill run coming in, that does a respectable amount of damage, puts it into basically Scorching Sands range. I expected the opponent to top left here. I overfarm 2 back-to-back moves. I think the opponent sees here, like, yeah, this Earthquake just does nothing. Not sure why the opponent for this move here. They'll go for a Stone Edge, I guess trying to get a shield off me or BMing me or something, we go for a Scorching Sands. This will take out Claudia, and that's GG's, well played. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favour, smash a like on the video, subscribe, it is absolutely free. I produce a lot of great content here, I stream. We have a fantastic Discord community in the description down below as well. Get involved, really appreciate it. We go 5-0 here. On the day, we went 17-4 with this team. Highly recommend trying it out. A little bit tricky into Azumarill and stuff like that, but you definitely can play around some tricky leads. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and last but not least, and most importantly, have a fantastic rest of your day.